Ladies and gentlemen, I am Matteo Wiegold, Content Director at TOC Worldwide, and today I have the pleasure to be joined by Mr. Rashid Wari, Central Director at Tanger. Thank you, Rashid, for joining us today.
Thank you, Matthew, for having me with you.
No, it's a pleasure. Rashid, I would say let's just start with this interview. I know that, we all know that Tanger has a privileged geographic location at the corner point of maritime trade routes that involve the Mediterranean Sea, the Atlantic Ocean, Europe, and Africa. And I know that in 2003, His Majesty King Mohammed launched the construction works for the port of Tanger. Could you tell us how this has evolved since that moment?
Well, you totally resumed very well what happened. Indeed, His Majesty the King launched this project in 2003, and he personally chose the geographical situation of Tanger, which is honestly a perfect situation, right in the Strait of Gibraltar, just opposite Spanish coast, Algeciras and Gibraltar, and perfectly situated within the world map as the east-west services and north-south services do mix and merge within this port. Now, you're asking me how things evolved with the years. When the port opened in 2007, meaning 4 years only of construction, and since 2007 till today, meaning about 13 years, 14 years of experience of this port, Tanger managed to open new activities every year. We'll be talking about that later. And the port today is quite a success, being number one in the Mediterranean Sea in terms of traffic, container traffic. For the last 2 years, it's been number one. And also number one in Africa for at least the past 5 or 6 years, reaching over 7 million containers of traffic, TEUs, and overpassing the 100 million tons last year, all traffic together. So it's quite a success today.
It is indeed very interesting, and it's impressive that you've been number one for this many years. And just to continue the questions, I understand that Tanger Port comprises quite a varied scope of activities, from maritime to logistics to even industrial production. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about these activities, how these are structured, and also what your main role is in this.
Well, yes, Tanger is quite known worldwide as being a port, but you're totally right. Tanger is not only a port. Tanger is three main activities. We have the port complex with the 100 million tons I told you earlier, very important for Morocco in terms of traffic. That's the port side. We have the logistics side within the port and outside the port, where we are owner of big zones, logistical zones. One of them is called MedHub, and other ones we have in Tanger Med zones. And these zones have already today almost 800,000 square meters of logistics and warehouses. And we host within our logistics the top 10 worldwide logistical companies, like the ones you might know. I don't know if I'm allowed to say some names, but DHL, Nippon Express, Jeffco, Daxel, and all of those are already clients within our zones, Nippon Express and all those. And we also are owner of industrial zones. So today, over 2,000 hectares of industrial zones have already been developed by Tanger, totally prepared by Tanger, and within there we have 1,000 clients that are already established and have opened their business and have been attracted by Tanger in itself. And these zones, to keep in mind just 2-3 figures, 2,000 hectares, 1,000 companies established, almost 100,000 jobs created there, and exporting almost 10 billion euro per year of added value created within the zones. 10 billion euro per year. So it is important to, as you said, to specify the three main criteria of Tanger being the port, the logistics, and the industry.
That is impressive, and it is quite interesting how you have managed to diversify all the activities that you are involved with. I also wanted to ask you, as I understand that about 36% of your containerized traffic comes from and to Africa, and that 25% from Europe. Can we maybe expect Tanger to become, let's say, the bridge unifying Afro-European trade?
We hope so, and we think we are already doing it. Now, the two figures you said are very important. Within the 100 million tons or 7 million containers, 35% is exchanged with West Africa and almost 25% with Europe. So it gives you a big part of what we do. 60% is only Africa and Europe. And Tanger Med being the shortest distance possible between Africa and Europe, because from our port we're only 14 kilometers to Europe. So the bridge is obviously here with the figures at least. Now, the other point where for sure we are doing a bridge between two sides is that apart from the containers, we are also the major player in Morocco and Africa for the truck and ferry business between Morocco and Europe, and between Africa and Europe. We do have a minimum of 20 departures per day, which is a ferry shuttle from Tanger to Algeciras. And sometimes in summertime, we go up to 40 departures per day.
Right.
Now, these departures, they do take passengers and cars, but they also take a lot of trucks. So last year we did over 400,000 trucks that were sent from Morocco to Europe and from Europe back to Morocco. And some of them do drive through the Moroccan Sahara, through Mauritania, and go south to the Dakar and Ivory Coast and Abidjan, all that.
Wow, that's impressive, and it's very interesting how geography can really help to optimize all these activities. And speaking about the geography, the ports, and everything that is sort of like linked thanks to the ports, nowadays ports, terminals, shipping lines, all the sector is trying to be perceived more as trade and logistics facilitators. This is a trend that we are seeing right now. How do you envision Tanger Med's different areas within this trend?
Now, obviously, as you said, everybody is trying to be at the same time perceived as trade logistic facilitator. Our company, Tanger Med company, have been created by public power and under the vision of His Majesty the King to be a logistical tool, an industrial tool, facilitating life for the investors and for the ship owners and all that. So our mentality is to be a facilitator on a day-to-day business. Not only because it's a fashion thing to say now, but it's been the way we are since the past 15 years. So being a facilitator for us is, since day one, when we talk to the investor, to be a one-stop shop for him. When the investor comes, he wants to know at how much he can buy the land, how can he employ people, how much financing he needs, how can he promote his industry, and how can he bring raw material, how can he send final product. So he needs logistics, he needs ships, he needs warehouses. And our company, being Tanger Med, is being a one-stop shop. We as colleagues of Tanger Med, we do know how to talk to these people as a facilitator and as a one-stop shop. And that's probably why we have quite a success with the 1,000 companies that are already established within our zones.
Well, that is, again, it is very impressive, and I can only expect to know more about everything that Tanger Med is doing. And on that note, I would like to mention that you will be that I'm very happy for you to be joining us at TOC Europe. And looking at that event, in your views, why is it relevant for our audience, the audience that is going to be in Europe, to learn more about everything that Tanger Med is doing?
Well, I'm happy also to confirm with you that the next TOC Africa will be in Morocco, so we'll be really happy to have you with us. I will, by the end of the video, introduce you Miriam Faris, because she will be the right person hosting this event and making all your people happy to come here. Now, the idea and your question is how relevant is for your audience to come and see what's happening in Tanger Med. I think Tanger Med is a unique experience, to be honest. You know very well that usually ports compare themselves over 50, 100 years and 200 years of living and experience. And that's how the majority, Rotterdam, I will be coming to Rotterdam, and these are very known, very interesting ports, very big ports, but have been existing for over a century and more. Now that Tanger Med is only 15 years old experience, but have managed to reach the top levels. Being number one in the Mediterranean Sea is not easy, because you're comparing Tanger Med to very known ports in Spain, in France, Italy, and Greece, and also Port Said in Egypt. And all of those ports are very important and big. So, having reached this kind of figures, there will be a lot of things that the TOC people and TOC community will be seeing when they come to Morocco, and see how we managed to do that in a very short time. And I hope that the small pictures you'll be seeing and small videos you'll be seeing will give you enough willing to come as soon as you want.
Yeah, no, I would say definitely we are thrilled to learn more about what Tanger Med is doing at Europe. And as you very well said, I think it's the time that we can announce that we will be going to Tanger to host TOC Africa in 2023. More details on the dates to come soon. And well, on that note, I would like to thank you, Rashid, for your
welcome
for this time.
I will introduce Miriam, although it was not proposed to do that.
It's good to keep it spontaneous.
Yes, it will be spontaneous. So Miriam, you don't know her, but she will be the one organizing the whole talk with your people, and I think it's worth it. She's preparing that in a very nice place in Tanger. Tanger being a very touristical city and very beautiful city. And I understand it will be around March 2023. So that's where we probably have a good time here in Morocco, and quite sunny compared to where you are.
Yeah, it will be definitely very sunny. And it's great to have you here, Miriam, as well. And on that note, I would like to thank Tanger Med for your support, both with TOC Europe and our upcoming TOC Africa. And we look forward to seeing you face to face, both in Rotterdam and in Tanger.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.